Detana Twinbee was originally released outside Japan as Bells and Whistles, for some reason. I can understand the bells, but whistles? Maybe Konami just wanted to use a common phrase that was popular in the English language. This 1991 arcade game was the 5th game in the Twinbee series, and the 2nd release for the arcades. The game is basically a standard cute shooter with a twist. In order to collect your power-ups, you need to fire at the bells. After a certain number of hits, the bells will change colour, notifying which power-up will be awarded. This juggling of the bells either makes or breaks the game for many people. True that it's a real pain trying to get the power-up you want while also trying to take out the enemies, but in my opinion it adds quite a lot of strategic gameplay to the series. I guess the Japanese game magazine, Game Est, thought so too, as they awarded Detana Twinbee Best Shooting Game of 1991. The Saturn port is probably the best home port available. Graphically it's very close to the arcade version and even has the option to play in standard TV screen size with everything looking fat, or arcade screen size as you can see here. Loading is non-existent too, which is great and to be honest, quite common in Saturn shooters. This particular port can be found on the Twinbee Deluxe pack that was only ever released in Japan. The pack also contains the arcade sequel, Twinbee Yahoo! First thing to point out about the X68000 port is that it gives you a choice of sound card options. Personally, I like the X68000 sound, which you can hear right now. But how would you like the sound of the SC55? Take a listen. Yeah, it's much nicer in an orchestral sense, but the brushing crashing samples of the default soundtrack just sound so much better in my opinion. They give the game a true arcade feeling. Graphically, the X68000 port is a little zoomed in and unfortunately doesn't seem to offer any arcade style screen size option. The game also has a little slowdown when things get busy. Nothing game breaking, but it's there. It's easy to write off the PC Engine port of Detana Twinbee as it clearly is the weakest in terms of graphics and sound, but what you need to remember is this is running on what is arguably an 8-bit system. When you remember that, you can understand that the graphics and sound are actually very impressive. This port also includes all 7 stages and cutscenes, even if they are simplified. If you own a PC Engine, you'd be silly to pass up on this game. The problem is that these days, it's pretty expensive. PlayStation port, again just like the Saturn port, is contained within the Twinbee Deluxe Pack. While this port is very close to the arcade, it falls behind the Saturn version in terms of visuals. When using the arcade screen option, graphics tend to look a little bit more pixelated than they should. Also, the audio doesn't seem as clear. These are very trivial points, mind you. In fact, if you didn't play both versions side by side, you'd be hard pressed to notice. Okay, and let's take a look at all those versions of Death to Now Twinbee running side by side.